So now let's move to our main topic for today. It is color and background. We will come back to the unit, which I think it is somewhere here, the unit. So for now, let's look at the color and then the background. Understand? Okay. So colors are also very, very important in website design. Even without even talking about the colors, we already added a lot of colors, right? So looking at this, you can see that you know some of the colors, but the colors are not only name colors. We have colors which uses some symbols. You understand? So sometimes you can see a color, but it's not a name like green, blue, yellow. Some colors are used. Some colors uses like a mixture of some letters and numbers. You understand? So that is why it is important. And they all have their own advantages and disadvantages, or where it has to be used. So in CSS, colors are specified by using a predefined color name, right? Like yellow, green, blue, that's what predefined color name. Because the green has been defined. When somebody say green, we know the color as green. You understand? You are not going to be thinking, what is green? You already know the color. You understand? Or with a RGB. RGB stands for red, green, blue. So it is this mixture of red, green, blue. Right? And we have what? A color which is called hexadecimal colors, which is mixture of symbols and characters. You understand? And we have what? HSL, which is hue, saturation, and lightness. Right? We have another one, RGB, which is red, green, blue, and alpha. You understand? And HSL alpha 2 is there. So all of these are different colors that you can define in the CSS file. You understand? So all has its own values. So let's look at the color name that we normally know. In CSS, a color can be specified by using a predefined color name, right? Tomato, that's the color. Orange, Dodge or Dodger, blue. Medium sea green, light gray, violet, slate blue, gray, right? So we have all of them. You can try them and say, okay, I want tomato color. You can just go there and write this as your color is tomato. It is a tomato color, right? I can say, let me write Dodger blue. You come here and say, I don't want this color, I want Dodger blue. What is Dodger blue? Right?
Yeah.
And then inside here, we have a color picker that you can stand here and choose. If you see that this color doesn't look good to you, you can stand inside and also select the color that you want. That is a predefined or a built-in color picker inside the Visual Studio Code. You understand? So that is the color for you. CSS HTML support about 140 standard color names. So we can look at those colors. You see it has 140 color stored by hex value. So look at some of the colors. So you see the colors, right? Okay. So CSS background color. You can set the background color for HTML element. Like this. Hello world. There's a background color for this. And then there's background color for this too. How? Each one has what? Background color of Dodger blue. And then the paragraph has a background color of tomato. right? So this one, what type of CSS is this?
Just inline CSS.
Inline CSS, yeah. Understand. Okay. You can set the color of text, this, you set the color like this. So H1, the style, the color is tomato, color, Dodger blue, color, medium, sea green. So you have to know that there is a background color and there is color. So when you talk about color, it means the text color. You understand? When you see something like only the root color, it means the text color. The text is the color of the text. Understand? But when you should talk, when you see something like background color, this text is background. That's what we're talking about. Okay?
Okay.
Right there?
Yeah.
Okay. So now this one is what CSS border color. You can also apply color to the border.
Mm.
So now it's not background and it's not the text, but it is the border.
Mm.
You understand? So they all have their property names. So when you are adding the style, you have to look at the name. You see border. This one, I even told you how it looks like. I added this one, 2 pixels, which is the thickness, right?
Yeah.
And then solid, and then tomato. So you can copy the same thing like this, and then you can add it to here. You see, I want to add this. You see this, right? You see the border,
Yeah.
2 pixels. Now the thickness, I can make it 5 and more thicker, right? And solid is it means the deep. If I want, I can make it dash. Let's see,
Mm.
I don't want this, I want dashed. Then so 50 pixels dashed color is tomato. You understand? You can change this
Mm.
and look at the others and say, oh, what are the others? Maybe can go here. There are a lot of them. 5 pixels and then dash. There is solid. There are a lot of them that you can add. There's someone called groove, right? There's groove. You see how groove is. In the color you said black. You see how this one is.
Mm.
And then I can add margin, maybe 10, so that I can see it very well. So margin is the area here between this and this. The area, let's give it this area. So the inside area is padding. How we understand now? Look at this. Although we are not doing padding, let me leave it for another day so it won't confuse you. Okay, so that is how it's added. And now let's talk about the CSS color value. Understand? So normally we have the name so that we can just see tomato, Dodger blue, violet. But what about if I don't want to use the name? I want to use different value. We have different values. As I told you, we have RGB, hexadecimal, HSL. All of them are different values that we can use. And they are very, very important. Some are used in terms of adding a gradient color. You understand? For
Mm.
instance, this one we have RGB, meaning red, green, blue, which is mixed to give you this color. You understand? So now
Mm.
if I come here and I copy this is a color, and I go here, instead of the main color, this color, I can say I don't want this color, I want the value color. And put this one. Understand? You give me this one. So it means the red is having 255, and then the green is 99, and the blue is 71. So they are mixed up. So when these are mixed up, it gives you this color. You understand?
Yeah.
So now if I can change this, instead of 71, I can make it 100. You see how the color changed now. Maybe I can make it 1, maybe 12. Maybe I can change the 99, which is the green, to be 10. You see how it is now. Maybe instead of 255, I can make it 143. You see what color it gives me. So depending on the RGB, it gives you the color. Understand? So that is what we call RGB color. RGB color. Understand? We use RGB values or hexadecimal. This is a mixture of symbols and numbers. And it starts with what? A hash. It has 6 characters, which is a mixture of what? Symbols and numbers, or letters and numbers, and it starts with hash. So if I copy this, come here, so I don't want to use this RGB, I want to use this. So it gives me the same thing. Start with hash. Then I can just see I don't want 47, maybe I can change it to 23. Any number that you add will give you different color based on the number you add. Maybe FF, I say I don't want FF, I want F1 or F0 or FA, FC, FF, FG, or it gives you colors based on the letter that you added. Understand? So all these things are values. So mostly you see some people use this, some people use the name. Understand? And then we have what? HXL. HSL is what? This is hue, like this. HSL, with the H stand for hue, S stand for saturation, and then the last one stand for lightness. Lightness. Understand? Lightness. So that is how it is. Hue. Hue, saturation, lightness. Understand? So you can copy this HSL. It's combination of percentages. Clear this and say you want hue. So HSL. So first of all, start with this. It means the saturation is 100%, which is very high, saturated. You can say it's too much. You can say 150%. I understand. So look at how it is now. So it's like you are mixing paints together. You understand? So this is how the color way, like you are mixing different colors together and achieving the right color that you want. So that's colors for you. Understand? And this, when normally you see E at the end, both the RGB and the HSL, it has E at the end, which is here. We call it alpha. Alpha. And this alpha normally gives you the transparent of that color. How the color should look. Is it should be deep or it should work? So normally it starts with 1 to 0. So in between 1 and 0. So you may have something like 0 0.1, 0 0.2, 0 0.3. So for instance, if I use this, or maybe if I want to use it correctly, here I can come HXL and I'll add E here. At the end of L, I'll add E here. Now it turns to what? HSL E with alpha. So then if it is alpha, then I have to add what? The lightness to it. So maybe I can say 0 0.1. Understand? So now this one will take 0 0.1 as the alpha. You see now it is lighter and the transparent 0 0.1. Maybe I can say I don't want it to be 0 0.2. I want it to be 0 0.5 or 0 0.9, which is almost closer to 1. Understand? So mostly people can use 0.01 if they want to be lighter. You see, now you cannot even see it clearly. If 0.3, you see how 0.09, you can see it. You cannot see it clearly, but if you write 0.1, you see how it is. So they are all used to control the color saturation, the color lightness, the transparency. Understand all this. Understand? Move the alpha, the RGB, and then HSL. Understand? So in an easy way, if you want to use it easily, for instance, if you use a name color like this, you come here and say you want red. But when you added the red, you said, no, I don't want red, but I want red, but I don't want the red to in a different value, not the name color. I want it to be different. So you can use the selector, and you can use the selector, the selector here. So you can come here. At the top, you see now it is what? RGB. You can click, when you click, it will take this effect. The same color will give you it RGB. When you click, if you want different one like HSL, you can click on there. It will change. You see now it give you hexadecimal value. You can click again. It give you the HSL of that color. You can click again. It give you a different color, which is HWB, which also another different one, color value. When you click, it gives you lab color, right?
Yeah.
Click on it, it gives you different LCH. They are all different colors. OK lab, all color differently. So now if you say most people, some uses what? HSL, because they think that HSL, they can have that feelings to change the percentage of the saturation. I understand. So if for instance, if I'm going to choose, I can choose the RGB and say maybe I want 0.1 here. You see, it's not all that very deep. Maybe 0.5. Maybe I'll say I want it to 1 here, or maybe 0, depending on how you want it. So you can say these two, maybe 25, 6, maybe 8, 9, depending on how you want it. So some people, whenever they want to have or to achieve some lightness, they'll add like this, maybe. Let's see blue. When it's blue, you come here, cell now, right? So you come here and see background color, right? You copy the same background color, right? So now they have opportunity to change the saturation or the lightness of that color. So now they can come here, instead of 50, they can make it 10%, right? I understand. So now the background color is Z. Now you can see the text inside, because this carry the background and this carry the text color. Because when it were to be, all of them were blue, you cannot see the text. Understand? So it's either you play with this or you play with this. Understand? You can say, oh, maybe let me play with this. I'll make it 100. I'll make it 100. Become white. Right? Maybe 90. Understand? So it is the mixture of the color. Hue, you make 240. Saturation, you give 100%. And the lightness, you see 90%. So it gives you this color. But when it is here, you mix this, it gives you the background color of blue. Right? So that's how this one is added. So I don't need to go through all this because it's all explaining the same thing. Understand? This RGB color, you see. So I can change this red RGB, red, green, blue. So you can play with all this. If you want the right color, you can come here and select different what value. And when you are okay with this, you can what copy this, go to your site and say, I got this color and I want to use this one color. This one. I understand. So you can play along with this. And whenever you see some of the color, you can use those ones you want here. Understand. This one is the RGBA. Which one is the alpha? Control the opacity or the transparency of the color. So if you make it like this, you see how it is 0.1. Maybe I want it to 1. You see how it is now. So it is what from 0 to 1. And then the blue for what? 0 to 255. Green is also from 0 to 255. And then red is also from 0 to 255. So if you play with all these things, you add the lightness, you get the exact color you want. Like this, some of them like this. You understand? So that is about the hexa. We go to the hexadecimal, also the same thing. Let's play with the numbers, the values. You see this one, the letters. This one is another, and this one is a blue. And then HSL2 is the same. You start with 0, 120 is green, and 240 is blue. So you can play along with this. Saturation, hue, and then lightness. You understand? So the same thing, you can play along with all the colors and you can get the right color you want. So that is all about the color. So if I want to ask, what does the H in HSL stand for? Hmm?
H is stand for
Mm-hmm. What does H in HSL stand for?
each hand. The height.
What?
Height.
Height mean what? Height. We didn't talk about any height in that. Look at HSL. We are talking about colors, not anything like height.
Okay. Highlight.
Not highlight. It's hue. This hue.
Mm,
Hue. I
okay.
told you HSL stand for what? Hue, saturation, and lightness. You understand? I will wrote it here. I will wrote it here. I said HSL. And I gave you, I said H stand for hue, and then
Mm,
saturation, and then lightness. You understand? So you have to remember that H stand for hue. That's what this H stand for hue. So then you put that is correct. Understand. So that is all about the colors. It just since so far as you know how to add color, knowing all this is just a plus, especially when you are dealing with colors. And so you want to play along with the lightness, the brightness, and the mixture of colors to get the exact website design that you want. So that's why it's important to know them. So, and then we have the background. We are moving to the background. Understand? CSS background. So background has a lot of things to offer, especially when you a lot of website has beautiful websites. They have a good background, the position, the attachment, everything is there. So that is what the CSS background is all about. The CSS background properties are used to add background effect for elements, right? So let's
mm,
look at how can we add this. Let's say remove this and then okay. So what are we going to add? we have in this chapter, you will learn about the following background properties. Background color, you already know it, right? Background image, no. Background repeat, attachment, background position, and background like a shorthand property. Okay, so look at background color. Property specify the background color of an element, right? So the background color of page is set like this. The body, the background color, they set it to light blue. We can copy this and say we want to look at the background, it's light blue, which is affecting our body, right? Then with CSS, a color is most often specified by a valid color name, like red, as we did, right? Or hexadecimal value like this, which start with what? Hash, right? Or RGB, we start with what? RGB. You understand? And this, we've done it. We just finished doing it, right? Okay. So you can set the background color for any element like this. So if it's H1, P, D element, we'll have different background color like this. Background color, background color. Understand? So opacity is also applied to the background, right? Opacity property specify the opacity or transparency of an element, and it can take the value between 0 to 1. So the lower value have more transparency. Understand? So this one is 1, 0 0.6, 0 0.3, and this one is like 0 0.1. You understand? So when we add our background, we add our opacity, which affect what? And we start from 1 to 1, from 0 to 1. So you can see we want 0 0.6. Look at how it's lighter. You can see we want it to be 1. Look at the background. So if you say this one is blue, understand? So look at light, how it is light now. And let's see 0 0.6, 0 point. Maybe you can just see 1. So that is how the opacity works. Let me see. 0 0.3 here they added 0. So that is the opacity. When using the opacity property to add transparency to the background of an element, all of each child element inherit the same transparency. Understand? So if you add anything in the body, the H1 element or H1 tags and that of the divs will also inherit that property. Understand? So that is how it started. All these things are there. For the RGB, you can also read them. The alpha, those also have the transparency. Understand? So this one now is the transparency here. So when you say background, you say RGB is the normal color, right? But the A is the alpha, which takes this from 1, 0 to 1. Here we have 0 0.3 as the transparency. I hope you understand.
Yeah.
So that is how the background color and the opacity is added. So here, what can you see? What can we drag here?
Background color.
Background color. Okay. So let me see if it is correct. Okay, correct. That is perfect. So we have background image, right? We have background image. And how do you add background image? We write what? We take the property, background image, and write our What is URL?
IP address.
I know it is IP, but URL, what does that mean? URL is what? It's the location. I understand. Universal resource locator. I understand. You are locating the what? The image. So when you see URL, either it is a link that you are what? You are locating, or a file you are locating. You understand? So this is how we add background image, not background color, but background image. So let's say we have our image, for instance, we want to add background image instead of background color. You can say our body will have URL. The inside we add our URL, external URL, and we come here and say we want to copy an image, right? Let's say we want to take image like here. Let's say we want to take this image, copy image address, right? And then you can go inside and say paste it here, right?
Mm.
So now we have added our background image. This background image. But what is happening? The image cannot fully cover all the size. Therefore, it breaks into smaller pieces.
Mm.
Understand?
Mm.
That's how we add our background image.
Mm.
Right? So, what else? Let's see. We add our background image like this. And then what else can we add? This is the background image. So, right. So, once again, when using background image, use an image that does not disturb the text. Understand? The image that stands out so that the text is visible. Understand? So the background image can also be set for a specific element like P. You can put background image behind it. So sometimes you can see, let's say this H1, you can have background image for this. Understand? URL. You can have any background image that you want to put there. Let's say we have background image like this. Copy the image address, then put it inside. You see this text has its own background image. You understand?
Mm.
Right? So that's how we
Yeah.
add background image. And then what else? So which CSS property is used to set background image? Which one? Which one?
The third one.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Third one.
Yeah. Background image.
We are talking about which CSS property.
Okay. The
We are
first
talking
one.
about, you say background URL. There's no anything like background URL. We are talking about background image. We are
The
talking about
first
background.
one.
The first one. The first one is what? First one
Okay.
is
The
background
spelling.
img.
The spelling. So the second one.
I say background image. I didn't say background img.
Mm.
You understand? Even this one, I just wrote it here. Background image. Okay. Okay. So that's correct. All right. So that's how we add background image too. And then you come background repeat. What does background repeat does? Background repeats that is how a background image will be repeated. Understand? So far as a repeat is concerned, we can have repeat in the X direction, repeat in the Y direction. And so we have background repeat in the X direction or repeat in the Y direction. Understand? So how? So here we said we added this background, right? And it is repeated, right? So you can come here and say, I don't want this background to be repeated. You understand? So I can say background repeat. So what do I do? I will say no repeat. Understand? So the background did not repeat. It came only one. You understand? So I just only one but because the image is very small, is smaller than the background, it appears here. You understand? Then we can add what? Background cover or background size. And once you background size, you can if you write cover, the image will be stretched. Understand? Now the image will cover the space it has because the image cannot cover because you didn't specify height and width. Understand? So the image will cover the space that it can occupy. Understand? So look at this. Understand? And when you do that, if the image is not bigger, it will look very bad because because you stretch the image. Understand? Now when it was smaller, look at how clean it is. So that's what background repeat does. I'll come here too. You see background repeat, no repeat. You see, also no repeat. So that's what it does. Background no repeat or background what? Repeat at X. You can see background repeat. Background repeat at X. So it repeats X. Understand? It follow the X part, horizontal line. If it is Y, it follow this. Understand? So it depends on where you want this thing to repeat. If you don't want to repeat, you just say no repeat. So that is how the background image repeat also work. So image background repeat, no repeat. So look at see the background. And then you can count background position. You can have background position at right top or center. Understand? Then come and see background position. Background position. You can see center. Now the background is at the center. Or I can say background position right. So right. Or right top. Right but top. Or right center. Understand? So that is how the background works. So drag and drop the correct property and value to repeat the background image horizontally. Body, background image, URL. So this is their image. So what do you think we have to add here? We already have our background image, right? And he's saying that what do we need? Correct property and value to repeat the background image horizontally. So what do you do?
Repeat why?
Background repeats. And then where are we going to use? To repeat what? Horizontally. Which one are we going to use? Repeat X. Understand? This is our image. We already added our image. So we is saying that since we already added our image, let the image what? Repeat at what? Horizontal line. So we added background repeat and we added repeat at what? X, which is horizontal. Right? So you submit and then if and it is correct. Right? So that's what background position is and background repeat is. We have attachments, background attachments. So this attachment, you can make some background fix which doesn't move. You understand? Or scroll. So this background is fixed. Look at this image is fixed. So it doesn't move. When I go down, it doesn't move. It's fixed there. You understand? You can go to some website and you see this image doesn't move. It is fixed. So that's what they use.
Okay.
You understand? And then here they use what scroll. So it means that when I go down, I scroll down, it moves with the image. So let's see. Look at here. You see, it moved up. But the other one, when I was moving, it was fixed.
Yeah.
But this one, when I move, it's moving, which is scroll, right? So that is how this one also works. So the background attachment property control. So what does background attachment property control is? The size of the background image, whether the background image scroll with the page or stay fixed, the control of the background image, the color of the multiple background image. Which one?
The second one.
The second one. Okay. Okay. So, and we have the shorthand. This shorthand is like you just write background. For instance, we add background color, right? We add what? Background image. We add background repeat, and we add background position. So in all these things, we can shorten it to make it very simple. You understand? So instead of adding background minus image, background minus repeat, you can just use background, right? So this is how we use background, and then we added what? Color. This is a color, right? And then we added what? The image, which we had URL. This is the URL, right? And we put our image inside. Then we add the what? Background repeat is what? No repeat. And then we add the background position right top. You understand? So all these things, you can make it short. You can add it to make it short. So when you did that, this is what we had. Understand? So at the top, this is at the top, right top. Is this, which is white. Background color, I don't want white, I want black, which is 000, like this. Then I run it, you see the background color is black. You understand? But if I want white, the white is FFF. FFF. It's white. I understand. So if I say no repeat, I can say repeat. Right?
Yeah.
So now I remove no repeat. Now I want the image to be repeated. So it has repeated multiple times. It will repeat until it's able to cover the body itself. Okay. So if I say right, I can just see I want only add to apply at the center, not right. I say center. So all of them are centered. I can see no repeats. I understand. So center, right? Yeah. Center, and only center, which can be. Okay. So that is the shortcut. Understand? Look at background color, background image, background position. Even there is background size, which you can add inside. Inside background size, you can add. You can add background size. Maybe after this, you can even add background size and see. Because you added the image, no repeats, and the background size you see cover. And background size cannot here you cannot cover. Let me see until okay. It's not working here, no problem. Because the image is not even bigger, so I don't think it will just work like that. Repeat, attachment, origin, clip, all of them are there. You can just go and look at them and see if you can apply them. And so a lot of them are not, some of them are very important, I understand. So just go and look at and read them, then apply. Maybe you can watch some short video here. You understand?
Okay.
So I think it's almost, what's the time from your side? Is
It's
it time
11.
or we can continue?
It's time. It's 11 o'clock.
Okay. Okay, no problem. Because I don't want to. Maybe on Friday I will look at the units, and although they are the same, so they are not all that difficult. You understand? The units are just the pixels, the EM, the REM. You understand? So, but I'll just go through and then tell you why it is important, and because definitely you know how to apply them, but maybe you don't know why this one is used here, this one is used here. You understand? So as maybe let's say as an assignment, just go there and read the unit and look at the difference. Which one is better to use? Which one is not good to use? Because we have absolute unit and we have what? Relative unit. Understand? So you can just read. They are just one page. You read them and that's all. Um, all right.
Okay.
I think we can call it a day and then I will meet you on Friday.
Okay, inshallah.
Okay. Okay, then have a good
Thank you.
night. And then,
Okay. Thank you for today's lesson.
okay, you're welcome.
Bye.
Bye bye.